You ever work for weeks, months, maybe even years towards some massive goal, only to feel totally flat and exhausted the second you finally get there? It's a weird paradox, right? So let's get into it. The post-success crash. Yeah, just imagine that for a second. You cross the finish line, you get the promotion, you submit that final project. You are expecting, fireworks, champagne. But the next morning, nothing. It's just this heavy, foggy emptiness. And it can be super confusing, maybe even a little disappointing. So, if that sounds at all familiar, you're probably asking yourself, what is going on here? Why does this moment, the one that's supposed to feel like this huge victory, instead feel like someone just pulled the plug? Is something wrong with you? Okay, let's just get this out of the way right now. You are not ungrateful, and you are definitely not broken. What you're feeling is actually a pretty normal biological thing. It's got a name, informally at least. It's called a cortisol hangover. To really get what this hangover is all about, we gotta look at what your brain and body were actually doing in the days and weeks leading up to that big win. And it all boils down to one thing: survival. So here's the wild part. Your nervous system, it doesn't really know the difference between the crazy pressure of a final exam and, say, the threat of an actual physical danger. To your body, intense pressure is intense pressure, period. And so it reacts the only way it knows how. It flips the switch into survival mode. And to get you through that threat, your body opens up its little survival kit toolkit. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These things sharpen your senses, but, and this is the key part, they also act like a mask, completely hiding how deeply exhausted you really are. This lets you push through, but you're not making energy out of nothing. You're basically borrowing it from your future self. So what happens when the high-stakes situation is finally over? Well, all that energy you borrowed, it's time to pay up. The bill has come due. And honestly, that metaphor is just perfect. That incredible focus, that drive you had for weeks, it wasn't free. As soon as the pressure is off, your body finally gets a chance to start its recovery process. And step one of that process is settling that biological debt. So that cortisol hangover, it is the feeling of your body clearing out that massive hormonal surge. It can take hours, sometimes even a whole day or more, for your system to get back to baseline. And while that's happening, you're left with all the classic symptoms: brain fog, absolutely zero motivation, and maybe you're even a little irritable for no reason. And there's a chemical thing happening too. It turns out our brains get a much bigger reward from the anticipation of a goal, the chase, than from actually achieving it. The whole time you're working towards it, you're getting this nice, steady stream of dopamine. But once you win, that dopamine faucet just shuts off, and that creates a pretty significant chemical drop. A great way to think about it is like this. Your brain was a computer running at like 110%, with way too many heavy programs open at once. The crash you feel isn't a malfunction. It's actually a built-in safety feature. It's a necessary system slowdown to save energy, run some diagnostics, and prevent a complete and total burnout. Okay, so you're in the middle of it. You've got a full-blown cortisol hangover. You feel foggy, heavy, and just blah. What can you actually do about it? Well, let's look at a few simple ways to recover. The most important thing to get is that this is a physical state. You can't just think your way out of it or tell yourself to be happy. You have to support your body. Simple things like taking slow, deep breaths or just stepping outside for a minute can signal safety to your nervous system. Remember, all that stress burned through your brain's fuel, glucose. So eating and staying hydrated is huge. And honestly, the biggest thing? Just give yourself permission to rest. Let your body move slowly. No pressure. And finally, this might just be the most powerful part of all. Let's talk about how we think about this whole experience, because just a small shift in perspective, it can make all the difference. So instead of thinking, my body is shutting down, which sounds like a failure, right? Try reframing it as, my body is coming down. See the difference? The first one feels like something is broken. The second one recognizes that this is just a natural, necessary, and totally temporary part of recovery. You're not failing at being successful, you're actually succeeding at being human. When it comes down to it, that feeling of numbness or emptiness isn't a failure. It's not a bad sign. It's just your internal system telling you that maintenance is in progress. It's a sign that your body is wisely taking care of itself. And what it needs in that moment isn't more pressure to feel a certain way. It just needs a little compassion. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. When you look back on your biggest wins, have you ever felt that crash? Just recognizing it for what it is, a biological process, not a personal flaw, that's really the first step. And it might help you navigate it with a little more ease and a lot more self-kindness the next time it happens.